It's Sunday evening and I usually put out a live jam at this stage of the week. This week I decided to change up some of the instruments that I was going to use. I tried about 4 or 5 different approaches to the live jam and nothing worked. This is just the nature of trying new stuff, I think. That prompted me to switch on the camera and sort of address that whole thing, because the impression that I get a lot of the time, and I think a lot of other people do, is you only ever see the stuff that's perfect or that has worked. I tell you, there's an awful lot of stuff that's redundant in the end. A lot of things that we try and it doesn't quite work and it gets binned off and you try again. That's not the impression you get when you see all these finished, polished things. I kind of addressed this in a live stream on Friday, sort of touched on it a little bit, but with live streams, my focus is on trying to be as entertaining and as fast-paced as I can, sort of creating music as well as having a discussion. My music brain is fried. Having tried about, I don't know, an hour and a half, 2 hours of live jamming with the sounds that I created and coming to a dead stop, the tension that I get between being innovative and creative and trying to do something new versus trying to be consistent, I think is something that's really important to think about. When you're consistent, you can't afford to be creating new things. You're looking to simplify, looking to cut down on options, trying to find the quickest and most effective way of doing something. And that doesn't leave you any room for experimentation. So to be productive and to be somebody who creates regularly, I think you need a balance, and that is really worth bearing in mind. For me, if I have 1 or 2 things that I adjust to open up new avenues of creativity, then the things that I leave consistent allow me to sort of have a comfort zone and to just push into those new areas and still be confident that I can make stuff work. But even then it doesn't always work out as you'd expect. Where all this kind of manifests itself is in mental bandwidth. If you overload your abilities and overload your mental capacity to try all these new things, your ability to focus on, or the mechanical side of things, can really suffer. Your focus is drawn away from the processes and pushed towards the sort of problem-solving side of things. That leads me back to an adage that I've heard a couple of times, and I think is a really, really good one to think about, and that is that we rise to the level of our ambitions, but we fall back to our level of systems. If you don't have any systems or processes that you're comfortable with in place, you can fall a long way, and that's when, certainly in the past, I've experienced like a real creative slump. If I haven't got any sort of baseline process or capability in a particular field, but I have had a bit of a sort of success prior to that, and I've reached some sort of ambitious target, when that creative spark disappears, falling back to the baseline is a long way. So I think something to bear in mind then is to have a baseline process for whatever creative work you do, and to keep that in reserve, or to keep that as your sort of day-to-day routine. And then when you're looking at trying something new, build on top of that baseline process, rather than changing everything up completely and just hoping for the best, because that would leave you a bit adrift if things don't work out. If this has been interesting or useful to you, then please leave a like. Subscribe to the channel for more videos of this type. If you're looking for any help or advice with making music electronically with either hardware or software, you can always drop me a line. You can support this channel at buymeacoffee.com/Mike Renoff, or you can buy some of my music at mikerenoff.bandcamp.com. Thanks very much for watching.